Wow, today box feels so much heavier than usually. Let's check why. Why it is so heavy. What day 9 has to offer us. Oh my! Woo! Where are you coming from? Oh, maybe enough? Wow. Okay, that's definitely enough. Well, I love books. I love reading books. I love bookstores. Oh my God, that is the place when I go somewhere to new country. Bookstores are where you can find me. Okay, let's check what I have here. Whew. That's a lot of books. For day 9, we have vintage, antique, old-looking books tied with ribbon and using some shiny watercolors. And I think this is a wonderful tutorial to try. We have a stack of old books and they beautifully tied with the ribbon. I will also aim to make this card look old, antique, that it's not that those are not brand new books. As you can see, this back of the spine of the book, they don't make these kind of anymore. Everything is much simpler, and also here you can see a wavy part of pages. That means also it was read many times, and yeah, a long time ago books were given away again and then again, and I want to make this card look that way, that those books were read, they brought so many joy. I have an elastic eraser and I will remove excess amount of graphite from my paper. Then for this day I will be using, that is definitely optional, I will be using Ferris Wheel Press ink, gold watercolors with sparkles. So everything is optional. You can use it, you can use it not. Then, as you can see, my palette is dirty from previous day, and we will need a lot of reds and browns and some light browns, darker browns, maybe some blue, gray, and I have everything here. For example, now I need something brown. I have here yellows and reds. I have here a little bit of green. I will take Indian yellow, which is in this mix, add this green. I will take alizarin crimson, and I have a nice brown, light brown color. I like it. Then here I will add a little bit more of indigo. I need bluish gray color for one of the books, maybe a little bit more of. And by the way, you can make these books as you wish. Books definitely can go, and we will paint them quite loose details only, because we will not just randomly, but we have lines, something similar with day 7 when we were painting a red car, like you feel at some point that you're just coloring in. This will be something similar. Then I need some rich red color. This will be this one. I'm taking alizarin crimson a little bit more. I will add touch of transparent yellow, and to make it slightly like old red, I will add a touch of perylene green, a little bit more. Yeah, this is nice. So these colors will work perfectly. Maybe I will need a darker brown. I will mix it later. I will start with these parts where the pages are. They are all 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 books. All these parts where pages are going to be very similar. So I'm applying water, avoiding area where the ribbon is. And you can even do this outlines with, for example, ink marker. That's also going to be good. So now I don't need to have smooth layer of this one. I need to have some uneven, so there's some kind of shadows, but I'm following the direction. So here pages would be like this, and I'm making these lines, and this opposite side, they go other direction. Like this. Then we will add shadows, and I will show you where. Under the book cover, because there's like a little bit deeper part. And well, it's still wet. I'm wiping some lines, like recreating some kind of page appearance, but later we will add a little bit more with finer tip brush. This is just a starting, like a base, a little bit darker where the shadow parts are. This is going to be all dark because ribbon is making it go to the shadow. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel and smoothing. And we also have shadow slightly here. And this all can be this side, as it is away from light source, this side is all in the shadow. Like this. Moving to the next one. Same approach. Not too much water, and only on the area where the paper is, not on the book cover. Only where the paper will be. Here we have this corner in the shadow. Then here shadow from the ribbon. And this side is going to be all in the shadow because it is also away from light source. We will add more shadows. Starting slowly. We can have here like a little imperfection. Here we have only this side, and it's going to be in the shadow, but only this side is visible because we have book spine more exposed. So this is all base color. Details we will add later. Now we are building base, on which details always look better. If you start with details, then it will look empty. If you have a nice base, that's where you start building details. It's like building a house. You can't start with windows, furniture, etc. You need to have a solid base on which you will beautifully later add windows, furniture, and everything else. Without that, we can't add details. Same with watercolors and realistic painting. There is this saying, when first thing that you see, first thing that gets your attention, like beautiful spots, lines, textures, is the last thing that you're going to paint. It's like 70% of time like that. There are some moments when this doesn't work, when you need to think about details a little bit before, but still possible that they're going to be last ones to paint. Again, this part is slightly darker and this one is lighter. So I'm painting them all in one color to have this consistency of paper color. And then book covers can run your imagination if you're willing and want to do. And here we have only this side visible. Water. And this is quite light because it is exposed to light rather than shadow. Okay, now we have a base for the paper part. Details a little bit later, and we will definitely build more on shadows. Now we can continue with book spines. Now with the book covers, I will start with the lower one. I have it in blue color, so I will go and straight away paint. Very often old books had covers in one color, had covers, book covers in one color. It was very often leather. And then spine, this part was more decorative with some gold. That's what I'm going to do. I will make book spines more decorative. This side that is more exposed to light will be lighter, and the one that is on the right I will make darker. Now again, I'm building base on which I will add details like some corners that are worn out, maybe some darker lines. That's all a little bit later. Now it's going to look a little bit flat, everything, because I am just adding base. Working with finer tip brush for greater precision, definitely. This edge as well. Need definitely another layer for this part, as it is much more darker it is in the shadow. Then I will have the same blue here in between these lines, and these lines are going to be gold. And for the gold, I will be taking shiny gold watercolors. But maybe before adding that shiny gold watercolors, I need to paint some very light golden color, which is yellow with some touch of brown. We'll see, and then we can add the golden color and it will shimmer. I think that will be a better solution. We can try and see, maybe only gold. But all the spine is in the shadows, so I think we need a base color for the shimmer as well. This is something I paint for the first time, and I'm tackling it slowly. My approach of painting is not only concentrated on botanicals and flowers, it's just my favorite subject to work on, but how I approach any painting can be approached for any subject. Is it food? Is it portraits? Anything. So now I have my golden watercolors. I will test first. Should I need to paint a base? Seems like it will cover entirely. We can later maybe do some glaze on top. The shimmery golden color, if you will be using, should be very saturated. So it really gives that shimmer effect and richness, not just a transparent. Painting with the tip of my brush, slowly, accurately. Okay, this is the base for, oh, in the screen it does shimmer a lot. More than in real life. Details later. This is just the base. Maybe another layer of darker color. I will wait for it to dry. I need to wait. No, I need to wait. So tempting to go into details. Next one will be red one. Next book will be red one that we pre-mixed. Darker area where the shadow is, where the light is not getting. Careful with outer edges and with the ribbon. We want to keep ribbon area unpainted. Over painting empty white area. This part is lighter as it is exposed to light. We will also add shadow. Each book that is on top of the other is casting shadow. So that will also be something that we will be adding. Maybe you want a green books with red, more festive color. It's really up to you. This part goes darker as it is in the shadow. It's more careful because of the details and so many narrow spaces. It's less technique, more accuracy here in this days. If yesterday it was about technique and building shiny leaves, then how to make candle burn. Now this does take more attention to your brush work. With minimal amount of shadows, I already am building it more realistic, just because I'm adding these different touches and I'm being really careful with my brush strokes. I'm not rushing this. Now this lower part can be in the shadow as well, as it has some thickness. Next one will be brown, but I need new brown color, not this one. This was for the, I want a more chocolatey brown. So I will be mixing in the same place. So I'm adding transparent yellow, alizarin crimson, a little bit more of alizarin crimson, and touch of ultramarine blue slowly, as I want to make it chocolatey brown, not gray. And then blue needs to be added gradually. A little bit more red and a little bit more blue. Yes, a little bit more. Perfect. I like this color. Now here I will also have golden spine details, but first I need to add this brown. So I'm starting with my finer tip brush. Details. This brown needs to be different, darker, richer, rather than these paper area where the pages are. Slowly and accurately, remember that. It's going to be here slightly darker, as this is all in the shadow. Again, details a little bit later. If you need, you can turn so you are more comfortable. Lighter this part. And I will be applying this brown color around these squares that I outlined. I also want to add some more decorative details to inside those squares. So for now I'm just applying watercolors around them. Slowly, accurately. Now it's very basic coloring. Can't call it other way, but details we will paint later. Now consider this your coloring page. And another area needs to be painted. Now I have squares left out, and I will, for example, leave some kind of just basic signs will paint around them randomly, just coming up from my imagination. You can maybe a letter, maybe a really tiny writing, also possible. And I will have this gold, and square also will be, frame will be gold. Okay, now this one could have maybe more thinner lines left out, and in between I will paint also brown. Imagine this is a leather book with gold embossing. It's beautiful. The book that you would like to open. And oh, I put a hand here and lifted my gold shimmer, so I will apply it later again. This could be, for now, this could be in red color. I'm taking Sennelier red with alizarin crimson. Let's paint this part in this color. So there's some varieties. Okay. And the last one can also have this one. So I'm outlining 1, 2, 3, 4. Not as precise as the first one. Well, these books were definitely made by hand, and they would have some imperfections. They are not mass produced, so okay, this is done. Now next one, let's have another one, blue. So we have only here sides of that book. Careful, here we have ribbon. Ribbon starts here. Same color as the lower book. Calm colors, nothing too bright, too screaming from the bookshelf pick me up. It's more, these books are calling from other perspective, like I'm so cozy, I'm so old, full of knowledge, pick me up. Maybe this one should be green, but you can paint this one green, or the top one could be green. And here, careful not to go into the brown part and ribbon part. Okay, this book is also. Now the upper book would be nice to have some kind of left loose marks of writing. For that purpose, I'm taking a pencil. And maybe I will leave out some lines, like there would be some kind of writing. Just to give the idea that there is something. Like this. And let's make that upper book more greener. Let's see if I can add sap green to my brown mix. Then I will have some vintage looking green. Yes, I think that would be nice. Careful with the ribbon and book under. Now we have this lower part. And this one. Now the upper part needs a little bit more attention because we left those lines unpainted, so I am painting around them, avoiding those marks that I left. I will also, there goes a line around, I'm leaving that unpainted as well. Gonna be some different color. Ribbon, again, careful with that. But this, as we are aiming for, I am aiming for antique look, old look. That's okay that we don't have perfect lines. It doesn't mean that they completely need to go out of the lines, but some unevenness and not perfect result will be what we need. Then there is a ribbon that holds everything together. Then we have here, carefully leaving some parts unpainted. This first part really feels like coloring book and you need to cover, you need to paint in. Color in the empty and not to go over lines. And this one here will be darker because ribbon is blocking light. Then we have here, definitely this area will be much darker, but for now just first layer. Give the idea of this whole composition and then we will work on details. Okay, that is done. Now I would like to do the ribbon. For that I'm taking more, ribbon is new. I am taking alizarin crimson, a little bit more. I will take Indian yellow. I want to have this ribbon more red. A little bit more of alizarin crimson. And more Indian yellow. Then to make it darker, Perlin maroon. And to push shadow darker, Perlin violet on the side. Now ribbon also I will be looking for vintage look and how it will look. Seems like some graphite left. Starting with this part. Leaving some areas unpainted. And not to go over the edges. Try not to go. Wash my brush, clean in paper towel, and wipe if needed. So you have light area. More into the shadow. That can be added later. If you something overpainted while it's still wet, you can remove, like I'm doing right now, and you have light area. Same on the other side, applying water. No puddles, just enough water to move watercolors. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel, and lifting. Watercolors, leaving light area. On a dry surface, straight with watercolors for the knot. In the middle, leaving space for light. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel, and smoothing. Now this little end here, water, watercolors, closer to the knot it's darker, and at the end, because it goes into the shadow area, and it's especially the end is darker. Washing brush and cleaning in paper towel and smoothing applied layer. Slowly, so we have light, but also smooth transitions. Now this one here. It has this corner, this edge, not corner, edge, is a point where it bends and goes down. So for now, I'm applying watercolors. Like this. And here, leaving some blank space. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel. And this will be where it's going to break and will be much lighter. Now leaving it almost unpainted. And here it will be slightly opposite because this is slightly visible to the light. I will leave it lighter. And everything that is on the other side is way darker. Darker than this little tip as well. But even in such area, it can't be everything just dark. It's in the shadow, but there is like reflected light area. Let's leave it lighter, closer to the end. And then, if needed, wipe this area. It needs to stay almost crisp. And then we have another one here. Goes to the other side. And then a darker corner here. These areas are applied on a dry surface. Okay, first layer is done. Everything is looking kind of pale and not so interesting. Now is going to start the interesting part when we will be adding details. We can, for example, this area is dry. We can straight away add some shadow. Wash my brush, clean it, paper towel, and smooth. And we give volume, create volume. Then this one here also. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel, and smoothing. Little details, but make a difference. Here on top, I would like to add gold color, but with watercolors. I'm taking transparent yellow, touch of pearl and maroon, a little bit more, and touch of blue, teeny tiny touch. Testing on a piece of paper, and this is very, very similar to gold color. And I will add it here. Well, when the book is in this angle, it's hard to tell what's on the cover, but you can be creative here. We will add also more green to deepen in some areas. Working with the tip of the brush. Don't place whole brush on the surface, then you will get thick brush strokes which will cover too much, that we don't need such big space to be covered. Then I have my green color here. We'll start to add some darker parts. This whole area is way darker as it is in the shadow. Then this area here is definitely darker. It is also in the shadow. This bow is I'm just concentrating on painting. Well, this bow is not letting light, blocking light, and then this part is more in the shadow. Careful between the ribbons. And then I want to have green shadow right behind the ribbon to create the illusion that there's a shadow. washing brush and smoothing some edges so there are no sharp. Definitely need to push darkness behind, right behind the bow. And smoothing. So there's gradual transition like this. And we have shadow there, which is great. More darker area closer to the bow. Now I would like to work a little bit more on the area where the open parts of pages are. And I have my brown mix. First, what we can do is separate the shadow. So all this area is in the shadow, so we need to make it darker. Then what I like is to not have an even edge. You know, when the book is old, pages start to move and you don't have precise edge. So I wanna make it uneven. And slightly smoothing. Need to add more for the shadow area. And you see how it slowly starts to look that way. When you paint and you don't see instant result what you are looking for, be patient. Realistic painting and portraying of realistic subjects require patience, and sometimes you can't get straight away look realistic. A little bit more shadow. And we have visibly this edge darker. Now moving to the next one. Same, I want to have this uneven, careful with the bow. And this side. We are clearly making this part darker, which shows us better view how it is. What we else can do is draw a very few fine lines. Like there are some pages visible. Like this. Moving to the next one. Shadow under. And now adding shadow to this one. And shadow here. Also pages. And now details are up to you how far you want to go with detailing, adding shadows, adding some realistic touches. The approach is you go and you add slowly, building layers. Now adding darker blue here, right under the upper book. That creates shadow. Also, with each new layer, I am covering those little white spots that are unpainted. Now, what else I would like to do is taking bigger brown synthetic brush. I'm taking a mix of this bluish gray with a little bit of brown, and I want to do an overall shadow on this behind this ribbon. I will show you how I will do it. I'm painting over everything, no matter the color. I'm applying it everywhere, washing brush and smoothing this edge. Like this. Now we can, with bigger brush, go little bolder brush strokes and add shadows, more intense. Like this. Now for the blue. I'm going even over these golden parts. They need to go darker. Now taking same shadow and applying it on this side, right along everything, washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel, and smoothing. Smoothing so there are no crisp edge. And now it kind of seems that this ribbon is slightly it's not completely pushed against the books. For example, this upper book can be a little bit moved to the left, and then you have the space between the first book and the last book, so this is where the shadow is. Now I would like to add colors more to the ribbon with slightly bolder brush strokes. We need to build intensity there as well. Taking alizarin crimson to my palette with some sennelier and a little bit of some bolder brush strokes. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel, smoothing. And leaving this rough appearance. As I was mentioning, I'm going for more looser result. And we need some darkness definitely here. But it's not entirely dark. There's some light spot. Adding a little bit more darkness. The more contrast is being added, the more realism is there. Slowly adding details. Clean and dry brush. Definitely go with bold brush strokes, creating these textures. And smoothing slightly, but I'm smoothing to have this texture, but still also have some details with not so crisp edges. And adding more. And as I'm working, covering all those white little spots that are unpainted. And we have quite a realistic bow. Now would like to add more details to some parts of the book. For example, I want to have more shadows here. More here. Need to really separate this part from this part. And some details. Definitely this one goes darker. Washing, cleaning, and smoothing. Gives the depth, right? Same here. Wash, clean, and smooth. Now definitely need shadow right over here because the cover of the book is casting shadow on paper. Washing brush, cleaning in paper towel, and smoothing. Now books are becoming more and more older looking. Now I have my golden colors. Adding water. I want to have these details painted. Taking more saturated amount of this gold. And covering those white spots on the spine of the book. Here as well. wow, so in the screen of my video camera, I see how shimmery and sparkly this is. In real life, it's not so how you see it. It's a bit calmer. Then adding a little bit here where we missed, lift with my hand. I don't have such great precision with this tutorial and subject, but you can go more precise if you would like to. Then I want to add some lines here for the pages. I will turn so I can place my hand. They shouldn't be, these lines shouldn't be very precise and not too even. Some can be longer, some can be shorter. Create a variety of lines to get the more antique, older, worn out look. You see now they kind of look pretty old. Also, if you're not sure about your brush strokes, that they are maybe too thick, then better leave that part out. Okay, now they're getting older and older. Now I want to add shadows under books. I need some brown color. Taking red, yellow, and a touch of blue. Now need darker red color for the shadow of the red book. Washing, cleaning in paper towel, and slightly smoothing. Blue. Now blue needs shadow. Taking darker blue and adding shadow for the blue. Washing my brush, cleaning in paper towel, smoothing. So we'll be adding a little bit stronger here. Also, this one is still missing. The more I spend time, the richer this composition starts to look. That's normal. You can't get it straight away from few layers. It requires time. A little bit shadow here. I have zoomed out to take a more wider look at the work, and what I see is that I want to add some details to this one. Like this golden embossing creates shadow. As you can see, the more details I am adding, the more detailed and realistic it is looking. And it's so fun. Don't rush this stage. It's the most, for me, it's the most enjoyable part. You have almost everything ready, and all you need to do is enhance those details that are so... It's pure joy to work right now. Now I want to make this red ribbon with bow look way more sophisticated, like really standing out. I'm taking Sennelier red. Sennelier red. I want to make it more standing out. This needs to go a little bit darker as it's still in the shadow. This one, this is like the corner. This needs to go darker. This as well. And this clean pigment is giving vibrancy. Giving vibrancy and shine. Here a little bit more. Here I'm slightly smoothing, adding a little bit more, and definitely here, definitely adding here and here. Again, smoothing. Now this washing, cleaning, and blending like this. Now it's even more standing out from the composition. And I'm creating again, reminding that this antique appearance of the whole composition. Slightly rough. Also, this ribbon gets this feeling that it's used ribbon. But overall, I love how it looks. Truly love. I've never painted such subject before. Majority of this challenge subjects I've never painted before. Now I need to add a little bit green, more green on top. It's quite glazing over everything here because it's in the shadow. Also here, then definitely here, a little bit there. Like this. More green, perlin green. I want to add here as well. Some final details. It's up to you how far you want to go with detailing. It's really up to you. I also noticed that I'm usually adding shadows in the same color as the subject is, and rarely do the shadows are added brown or gray. Here I try to do that, and I still find that more realistic and more realistic looks when you add shadow as the subject is. So for example here, blue book, darker blue for the shadow. Red book, darker red for the shadow. Then they look more realistic rather than just gray color. And I receive this question quite a lot when people ask which brown or which gray I use for the shadow. I don't. I use the color of the subject. That's the best way. That's the best way. Then it looks more natural, more realistic. Well, I'm finishing up with this day subject. I like the result. I like how it looks. I like the bow, all the details. If you wanna, you can push and go a little bit further with details. If you wanna, you can stop earlier. It's up to you. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.